Bing Crosby has been on his summer holiday, but beginning October 3rd, Bing and his crew will return to this, their regular time. So join in the fun with Bing Crosby at this time on Wednesday, October 3rd. From Hollywood, it's time now for Edmund O'Brien as...
Johnny Dollar.
Roger Stern, Dollar.
Hello, Mr. Stern. What can I do for you?
A job. Be in my office at 8 tomorrow morning and bring a packed suitcase.
Sure.
Just like clothes. You're going to Cuba.
Oh, hot this time of year.
Very.
See you at 8, Mr. Stern.
Edmund O'Brien in a transcribed adventure of the man with the action-packed expense account. America's fabulous freelance insurance investigator.
Yours truly, Johnny Dollar. Expense account submitted by Special Investigator Johnny Dollar to Home Office, Intercontinental Indemnity and Bonding Company, New York City. The following is an accounting of expenditures during my investigation of the Cuban jewel matter. Expense account item 1, $7.15 mileage and incidentals between Hartford and New York City.
Morning, Dollar.
Morning, Mr. Stern.
Sit down.
Thanks.
Here it is. This company holds an insurance policy with a Mrs. Lenore Carter. $800,000 on her jewels.
Uh-huh.
Jewels were stolen from Mrs. Carter's safe 8 months ago. Police haven't been able to turn up a thing.
And you've got to pay off, huh?
By Monday.
What's in Cuba?
We got a tip. A man in Cuba knows where the jewels are. He was supposed to have been in on the robbery.
Okay. What's his name and where do I find him?
William Carnes. He's in jail in Havana.
In jail?
Yes. Awaiting extradition this weekend.
Well, if he's being brought back...
Not for the jewel theft. He's wanted in this state on a federal rap.
Oh.
Police don't even know he was mixed up in the Carter job, and we're not telling them.
Oh?
When he gets back, he's bound to get at least 10 years for the federal rap.
And you want to know where he stashed the jewels before they put him away?
Exactly. He's lived in Cuba on and off over a period of years, and I believe it's reasonable to assume that the jewels are somewhere in Havana.
He does a stretch, and when he gets out, he picks up $800,000 in jewels. Might be worth 10 years.
If we tell the police now and they question him, he'll never open his mouth. He's got to do the 10 years anyway. It's your job to find out where the jewels are before he's extradited.
When are they sending an officer down to pick him up?
Today or tomorrow. You've got to beat them there.
I'll try.
There'll be a bonus if you succeed.
Like I said, I'll try.